Hey guys, Julio Rosas here. Today we're going to be talking about the current situation that Democrats are in. And obviously it's not all roses and rainbows right now for them. They currently don't even have a national leader. But one of the biggest issues of the 2024 election was the border and the border crisis. And right now Democrats are in an awkward position because for nearly the first 3 years of the Biden-Harris administration, they said the brewing crisis at the border was overblown. It was simply racist hype from Republicans and Fox News. It wasn't until the election season started back in early 2024 where Democrats started to shift their tone. While Biden's polling had been in the negative since the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal, the obvious and sustained self-inflicted border crisis ensured that his approval rating remained low. And it was self-inflicted. The open border was deliberate policy from the Biden-Harris administration. Let's look back at what Biden campaigned on back in 2020. He pledged to end construction of the border wall. He wanted to halt all deportations for his first 100 days. He wanted to end the Remain in Mexico policy. He wanted to remove the third country agreements the first Trump administration made with Central American countries. He wanted to end the Trump administration's restrictive asylum policies for people who cross the border illegally. And he wanted to provide a pathway for citizenship for the millions of illegal immigrants who are already in the country. That was the tone that Biden set when he eventually entered into office. Biden was signaling to people all around the world that not only was it going to be the easiest time to enter the country illegally, but it would be the easiest time to stay in the United States as well. Now, I don't need to go over what happened after that. We all saw it. For the next 4 years, hundreds of thousands of people illegally crossed our borders. Democrats tried to save face at the beginning of the 2024 election year by coming up with a, quote, bipartisan border bill that, while had some good things in it, the bill would have ultimately codified the worst aspects of the crisis into federal law. The bill would have allowed up to 5,000 daily illegal entries, which would have added up to 1.8 million annually, before the president was able to trigger emergency border closure authority. The emergency authority to close the border was limited to 270 days in the first year and would have been deactivated after 2 weeks if border numbers dropped back down. It would have continued to fund the NGOs that were helping to fuel the current illegal immigration problem. And for some freaking reason, it was combined with funding for Ukraine in what was supposed to be an American border bill. Now, because of these insane provisions, most Republicans, all the way up to then candidate Trump, said this bill was garbage and it shouldn't pass. But according to Democrats, Republicans were walking away from this bill, proved that they only wanted to keep the issue alive for the 2024 election.
Never mind the fact that it was House Republicans who walked away from a bill negotiated by one of the most conservative members of the Senate, a bill that Senator McConnell called the toughest border bill in 30 years. All because Donald Trump told them he wanted the issue for the election, not a solution.
Republicans didn't even read the border bill. Many of them came out and opposed it within hours of its release because Donald Trump told them to. Trump wants to keep the border chaotic for the upcoming election because he thinks it helps him, said Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. Now, thankfully, the open border bill was dead on arrival. As many people saw it, it was a transparent attempt from Democrats to claim they were doing something about the border crisis a few years late by shoving a horrible bill in people's faces to then accuse the GOP of wanting to keep the border open, which the Biden administration opened in the first place. So it was a classic DC bait and switch. So what has happened since Trump entered into office and closed the border on his first day? Well, illegal border crossings have plummeted so hard that it might as well have separated Mexico from the United States. It is such a drastic change that even the mainstream media can't ignore it.
According to Customs and Border Protection, there were over 22,000 encounters at the southern border in February and March this year, compared to over 378,000 in the same period last year.
This leads us to the title of this video. Democrats have been unable to come up with any sort of believable spin. They simply can't excuse away the success that President Trump has had at the border. When I asked former Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas about it, he had nothing to say.
Pleasure.
Very
fine. How are you?
I just wanted to ask you how it feels to see that the United States has a secure border now that President Trump is in office, as opposed to when you were Secretary of Homeland Security. Do you have any regret facilitating an open border, sir? Border crossings are down 95%.
Special security announcement. Please maintain.
Then we come to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. This guy. Okay. Schumer was asked by a reporter this past week how illegal border crossings are down over 95%. In response, Schumer said this.
On border security, the White House and Republicans are touting the claim that illegal crossings are down by 95%, guardways, as they call them, are down by 99%, and only 9 foreign actions were released into the country compared to many more under the Biden administration during an equal period. Is that not a sign that the Republicans...
I'd say one thing to you. I don't trust Trump's numbers.
Now, I admit Schumer is in a tight spot. He can't acknowledge Democrats were wrong to say last year's border bill was the only way to solve the crisis, even though anyone who was alive from 2017 to now knows that this isn't how the border has been historically. But Schumer's been in politics since 1975. Love Will Keep Us Together by Captain and Tennille was the most popular song that year, and Jaws topped the box office. Point is, he could have done a much better job BSing his way out of it because he's been a politician for 50 years. Here, I'll show you.
Security, the White House and Republicans are touting the claim that illegal crossings are down by 95%, guardways, as they call them, are down by 99%, and only 9 foreign actions were released into the country compared to many more under the Biden administration during an equal period.
What I'm worried about is the racism and xenophobia sweeping across the country because of Trump's inhumane immigration policies. See, it's still a deflection, but it sounds a lot better than just, I don't trust Trump's numbers. The thing is, you don't have to. All you have to notice is how our border doesn't look like this anymore.
No deje pasar, tranca ahí, mira, amárralo ahí, que no se recuesten ahí. Ya vamos a pasar.
No matter what happens, Trump ending the border crisis on day one of his second term, which again was created by Biden's actions on his first day in office, will have been one of the most important things he will have done in the next 4 years. As the saying goes, you can't have a country if you can't control your own borders. Every day we get stories about illegal immigrants who the Biden-Harris administration let in doing horrible things to U.S. citizens. The effects of the 2021 to 2025 border crisis will be felt for years to come. If you like my video, please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. We're going to be doing weekly uploads, and any support for this endeavor would be greatly appreciated, as we got some big things in the works for not just this channel, but also my Substack at mostlypeaceful.media. Thank you for watching.